Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us. This is the main news on Camnet TV with me, Sylvia Zulu. Here are the top stories making headlines in our news tonight. An opposition leader hails government stance on BOROSTE land agreement. President HICHILEMA challenged to lead by example by cutting on foreign troops. The government urged to extend cholera vaccination to correctional facilities. In international news, 24 Israeli soldiers killed in attack in Gaza. And in sports news, PONGA LIWEWE skeptical about Zambia progressing to the AFCON round of 16. Do join me with the details shortly.
It's a January back-to-school promotion bonanza at Darren Bay. Take advantage of our massive price discounts and turn your wonderful school-going kids into stars. With a cornrows hairstyle going at only 30 kwacha for kids below 13 years and 50 kwacha for kids above 13 years, your child is guaranteed that neat and trusted, classy look. This curly, knotless hairstyle is going for as little as 150 kwacha from as high as 200 kwacha, wigs included. Now that's a classy saving. The sleek ponytail going at 80 kwacha from 120 kwacha makes your little one look like a true princess. Gift your pretty one with this lovely natural twist for as low as 60 kwacha from 100 kwacha, beads included. Now that's a cute saving. Your princess will look stunning in this curly ponytail at only 90 kwacha from the original 110 kwacha. Now that is a great deal. You will find us along Mosi Road, 4th Close, on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post in Ibex Hill, Lusaka. We are open from 0720 to 17 hours, 7 days a week. Call us for appointment bookings on 0772 870588 or WhatsApp on 0972 04 9213. Darren B, a touch of class.
And now the news in detail. Independent Lumezi area member of parliament, Mwanawasa Zulu, failed to appear before the Lusaka Magistrate Court Tuesday due to the unfortunate demise of his stepfather. The accused, grappling with personal tragedy, was unable to attend the scheduled hearing. This is in a case in which Mr. Zulu is alleged to have disrespected the people of PONGA in the southern province.
Independent Lumezi area member of parliament Mwanawasa Zulu failed to appear Tuesday morning before court, citing the loss of his stepfather. The accused, grappling with personal tragedy, was unable to attend the scheduled hearing. His matter was coming up for continued trial. Magistrate presiding over the case, Emma Masoja, acknowledged the circumstance when the surety to the accused addressed the court. The magistrate was, however, informed that the accused will avail himself tomorrow, the 24th of January 2024. The lawmaker in this matter has been dragged to court in relation to a charge he was recently slapped with of expressing or showing hatred, ridicule or contempt for persons because of race. The offense that is facing is contrary to Section 71 of the Penal Code, Chapter 87 of the Laws of Zambia. According to court records, Mr. Zulu on the 28th of March 2023 issued a statement where he claimed a villager from Lumezi is more intelligent than villagers from PONGA. The alleged utterances were made shortly after his release from police custody at Long Acres. Authorities state that the cited words allegedly showed hatred against a group of people from PONGA. The matter stands adjourned. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
A 44-year-old man from Lusaka has pleaded not guilty to defiling 7 girls. The accused, Richard Mwanza, denied the allegations when he appeared before Lusaka magistrate Crispin Hapungani. Meanwhile, the accused has been denied bail. The court cited concerns for the accused's safety as the reason behind the decision.
A 44-year-old businessman, Richard Mwanza, facing charges of defiling 7 young girls, stood before Lusaka magistrate Crispin Hampungani Tuesday as the prosecution outlined the disturbing allegations, reviewing a case that has sent shockwaves through the community. Mwanza, a resident of Lusaka, has been slapped with 7 counts of defilement. It is alleged that the accused, between the 18th of June and the 23rd of November 2023, he had unlawful carnal knowledge with children under the age of 16. According to court records, the victims are said to be within the age of 11. The accused denied the allegations this morning when he appeared before Magistrate Hampungani. After taking plea, Mwanza applied for bail. However, the court deemed it necessary to keep him in custody for his own safety. The court's decision to deny him bail is unusual, but reflects the gravity of the charges. The safety concerns mentioned may stem from potential public outrage or the fear of retaliation against the accused. Richard Mwanza will remain in custody as the legal proceedings continue. The court's decision aimed to strike a balance between ensuring the accused's safety and addressing the seriousness of the charges he faces. The matter has been adjourned to the 22nd of February for possible commencement of trial. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Prisons Care and Counseling Association has implored the Ministry of Health and Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU, to consider extending donations to correctional facilities across the country in a bid to prevent the further spread of the cholera epidemic. PRISCA Executive Director Godfrey Malembeka says correctional facilities are congested, hence being at risk of waterborne diseases such as cholera. Dr. Malembeka says correctional facilities must be considered for vaccines.
Zambia's cholera fatalities recorded from October last year have clocked the 500,000 mark. This is according to the latest update by Minister of Health Sylvia Masebo, who revealed that in the last 24 hours, the country recorded 14 deaths, bringing the cumulative number of deaths to 512.
433 new cases have been recorded in the past 24 hours countrywide, whereas yesterday we had 449 cases. Today these new cases are from 7 provinces. Sadly, we lost 8 adults and 6 children, totaling 14 deaths in the last 24 hours. This is slightly lower than the 18 which we reported yesterday. All these deaths happened in Lusaka province. These 14 deaths reported, 9 of them were from the community and brought already dead to our facilities, what we call the BIDs. 5 deaths were from our cholera treatment centers, with 2 who died within minutes of admission, and 3 had non-cholera related complications.
The minister also gave an update on the vaccination exercise that has been taking place for about a week now.
Continue making steady progress in protecting our people through the administration of oral cholera vaccines. For the past 7 days now since we launched the vaccination program, we have vaccinated a cumulative 1,454,807 individuals in our hotspot areas. This vaccination coverage is currently at 90% of our targeted population. 46% of those vaccinated are males, while 54% are females. The total number of individuals vaccinated in each of these areas are as distributed.
Prisons Care and Counseling Association is since imploring the Minister of Health and the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU to consider extending their donations to correctional facilities across the country in a bid to prevent the further spread of the cholera epidemic. PRISC Executive Director Dr. Godfrey Malembeka says correctional facilities are congested, hence posing a threat to inmates in terms of waterborne disease outbreak such as cholera, among others.
Call upon all those, the DMMU, they've received these water tanks and the water bowsers from China, the Chinese government. We want to see some of those water tanks mounted at open air correctional centers where movements and security is relaxed somehow. We want to see that at the rural correctional centers so that inmates may have enough water. We have seen the dosages of these prevention dosages from the Ministry of Health. We need to team up and help our friends in correctional centers. Public health depends on prisoners' health, because prisoners' health is actually public health.
Overcrowding in Zambian prisons is so severe that inmates are not spared from disease outbreaks such as cholera and was recently not spared from the previous 2 variants of the COVID-19 virus. Vincent Piri for Camnet TV News, Lusaka.
Civil rights activist Brebna Changala says the president's call on permanent secretaries to cut down traveling is questionable, considering that he has been doing the same. Mr. Changala alleges that the head of state is abusing his travel privileges, some of which have no benefit to the country apart from draining the national treasury.
We're very strange head of state. Strange in the sense that he acts always in the opposite. He has warned the permanent secretaries to change the habits of always traveling out of the country. Now the question is, who appoints the permanent secretaries? Who authorizes their foreign trips? Are they doing it out of their own evolution? The president made a public admission that he's not in charge. No wonder the country is in total disarray. You cannot stop your colleagues to do what you are exactly doing. There is a saying in English, always follow the leader. The permanent secretaries are doing which is exactly the government policy as espoused by the head of state himself, Mr. Hakainde HICHILEMA. So the permanent secretaries cannot be embarrassed publicly by the very man who supervises them. It's a mark of failure by Mr. Hakainde. And these foreign trips, for his information, are not accepted by the public and the voter in general. Mr. Hakainde has abused his travels because some of them are not significant and they bring no value to this country other than a dent on our treasury.
An energy expert has urged the government to fill up the country's fuel reserves to avoid further increases in fuel pump prices in the country due to international price fluctuations. In an interview with Camnet News, Mwanawasa Zulu says buying fuel in bulk and storing it as a country is the only long-term measure that will not affect the coffers of the country in the long run.
In the last 4 months, the country has experienced constant fuel prices due to the use of the Strategic Reserve Fund that was being used by the Energy Regulation Board, and according to ERB, the fund has since depleted and fuel prices will be dependent on international prices. Energy Regulation Board Chairperson Engineer Reynold Boa has dismissed reports that government has been subsidizing fuel. Speaking at a press briefing Tuesday afternoon, Engineer Boa says ERB has been using the Strategic Reserve Fund to support price stabilization in the country.
There have been press reports in the past few days to the effect that the government of Zambia has been subsidizing fuel. This is categorically not true. There has been no subsidy of fuel. Strategic Reserve Fund is a fund that is set up for and supported from funds of the citizens who consume petroleum products. The use of the fund for purposes of supporting consumption of the product, whether it is used to support the cost of transportation, whether it is used to create infrastructure for the storage of petroleum products, or whether it is used to actually buy strategic reserves, is an authorized use of the fund.
Meanwhile, an energy expert has since called on government to prioritize fuel reserves as a long-term measure to avoid the effects of international prices on the country's fuel pump price. Mr. Boniface Zulu says the Energy Regulation Board must use a 6-month storage system to purchase fuel in bulk when international prices are friendly.
Needs to do is we are consuming over 30 million liters of petroleum products on a monthly basis. So meaning when we multiply 30 million liters times 6, then we'll have about 180 million liters. Now we need to produce 180 million liters of reserve capacity. When fuel prices drop on the international oil prices and the kwacha to dollar exchange rate is fair enough when the kwacha appreciates, we can buy more stock and put it in our reserve to act as a buffer against fluctuating international oil prices as well as the kwacha to dollar exchange rate. And this would be a better solution currently than implementing subsidies, which will also drain the coffers of the government in the long run.
And an economist, Kelvin Chisanga, says the country must emulate the footsteps of countries like Ghana in fuel stabilization. Mr. Chisanga says, depending on international market prices for fuel pump prices in the country will make it difficult to survive economically.
We just need to find how we can model it now. Perhaps now we should be able to follow what Ghana is doing in terms of trying to work around stabilization and recovery process. And this is what we need to look at to ensure that we have a very good safety net. Because you see, if we leave this to market patterns on the international market, it will be very difficult for us to actually see how we can go about this. Even when it comes to the business projection, it will be relatively very difficult for us to counterbalance some of the external shocks that comes with their pricing model around fuel.
Cherish Sibote for Camnet News, Lusaka.
Chikondi Foundation President Bishop John Mambo has backed President Hakainde Hichilema's cause for unity in the country, following renewed calls for independence by some BOROSTE activists. Speaking in an interview, Bishop Mambo says instead of calling for divisions based on regions, citizens should focus on the equitable distribution of development, which is genuinely imbalanced. Bishop Mambo says that it is saddening that more than 50 years of the country's independence, such calls have continued to resurface when it was made clear from inception that one Zambia is one nation. He has since called for the respect of the BOROSTE leadership, stressing that the establishment should continue existing in Zambia as a state.
Chikondi Foundation President Bishop John Mambo has described calls for BOROSTE independence and mushrooming of other regional groupings as saddening. President Hakainde Hichilema in recent days has been drawn into a defensive mode over Zambia's unitary status. This follows renewed calls for independence by some BOROSTE activists calling for independence in the historical BOROSTE agreement. Speaking in an interview with Camnet News, Bishop Mambo, however, says the calls are saddening given that the country has been independent for more than 50 years under the motto of one Zambia, one nation.
Now, we cannot be happy 50 years down the road to start saying BOROSTE Eastern, Northwestern, and things of that nature. No, we are one Zambia, one nation. Even our marriages, even the national anthem itself, go just to the national anthem, because it's very clear, stand and sing of Zambia, a country that is free and for everyone and so forth. National anthem that BOROSTE and any other areas are singing speaks for all.
Bishop Mambo says instead of calling for successions, citizens should be addressing the challenges of economic development, which is uneven in some instances.
Changing is all politics, because of course I wasn't there when it was a campaign, but these things, Kaunda left them and all that. All our brothers, my thinking is that if there are promises in terms of the economy, involve them and involve everyone else.
For Camnet TV News, Afias Kaptula, Lusaka.
People's Alliance for Change President Andiford Banda has backed President Hakainde Hichilema's stance on discouraging the Barcelona Agreement discourse, saying Zambia is a unitary state. Members of the Lunyungandambo movement have emphatically asserted that the Barotseland Kingdom proclaimed its independence from Zambia in 2012. Expressing their discontent with the Zambian government, the visibly irate members challenged the authorities, stating that Zambia has not contested the declaration on the international stage. Mr. Banda says such maneuvers are a recipe for conflict and must not be entertained. Speaking when he was featured on a Camnet TV program dubbed National Matters, Mr. Banda says focus must be directed towards steering inclusive development in all the provinces.
Avoid, these divisions. So, in all honesty, I believe that, the issue of BOROSTE is a foregone conclusion. That is what, I think I support what President Hakainde Hichilema said, to say, we need to just come to the realization that this thing will not happen, and I'm not going to actually try and lie and say no because I want votes in Western Province, so we're going to when I become president we're going to run boys posting to say that there is no president who has actually been very open about this issue. I think President HH was very open. He just said, there's no country called BOROSTE. We are one country, we are one Zambia, one nation, and that's the issue. And in the same vein, we don't encourage things like Omoz Kumawa, things that look at this area. What we need to do and what we need to realize is that there are a lot of people that are staying, a lot of losses that are staying in the Copper Belt. They're staying in Lusaka, they're staying in Eastern Province. There are a lot of Easterners that are staying in many parts of the country. What we need to do is that we should all strive together to build a nation where development goes to BOROSTE, development or in Western Province, development goes to Eastern Province, development goes to Rapula, development goes to Northwestern Province, development goes everywhere. That is what we need to fight for. This issue of no, we want to rule ourselves, we want to secede, we're tired of being in Zambia. I think that, to be honest, it creates confusion. And I just want to say that, the president was right, because these are things that, have created conflicts in Africa.
You're watching the main news on Camnet TV. We take our first break.
Are you looking for a reliable and efficient courier company with international standards? Then let UBZ Courier, your trusted partner in swift and secure deliveries, be your ultimate choice. Whether it's a small package or a hefty consignment, UBZ Courier handles it all, locally and internationally. Our modern call center ensures personalized attention for every client. For seamless deliveries within Zambia and beyond, trust UBZ Courier. Call us now on +260-763-062-680 or visit us at plot number 15 Mwapona Road, Woodlands, Lusaka, Zambia. UBZ Courier, a world-class brand that can be trusted.
Potatoes, the unsung heroes of flavor. From crispy chips to creamy mash, potatoes are the versatile superstars of your kitchen. Grown with love by our dedicated workforce drawn from around the community of Palavana. Savenda Farm's commitment is to see to it that we have potatoes that are grown right, healthy, big and tasty. For that quick fix or big celebration or that meal that brings family together, top chefs rely on the Savenda potato to create culinary masterpieces. And for others, it's that icebreaker to a delightful conversation. So, embrace the magic of Savenda potatoes. They're not just a side dish, they're the heart and soul of your kitchen. Savenda, save nations, develop Africa.
It's a January back-to-school promotion bonanza at Darren Bay. Take advantage of our massive price discounts and turn your wonderful school-going kids into stars. With a cornrows hairstyle going at only 30 kwacha for kids below 13 years and 50 kwacha for kids above 13 years, your child is guaranteed that neat and trusted, classy look. This curly, knotless hairstyle is going for as little as 150 kwacha from as high as 200 kwacha, wigs included. Now that's a classy saving. The sleek ponytail going at 80 kwacha from 120 kwacha makes your little one look like a true princess. Gift your pretty one with this lovely natural twist for as low as 60 kwacha from 100 kwacha, beads included. Now that's a cute saving. Your princess will look stunning in this curly ponytail at only 90 kwacha from the original 110 kwacha. Now that is a great deal. You will find us along Mosi Road, 4th Close, on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post in Ibex Hill, Lusaka. We are open from 0720 to 17 hours, 7 days a week. Call us for appointment bookings on 0772 870588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049213. Darren B, a touch of class.
Thank you for staying with us. We now continue with more news. The National Action for Quality Education has called on the government to begin to address factors that are currently standing in the way of quality education. Organization Executive Director Aaron Chansa has cited the prevailing cholera as being among the impediments that undermine the provision of quality education in the country. Dr. Chansa says children, regardless of social and economic status, should unconditionally be given quality education. He is happy that Zambia is doing fine in availing education to almost all children of school-going age. Speaking ahead of the International Day of Education, which falls on the 24th of January, Dr. Chansa encouraged government to continue supporting free education. He notes that in the last 6 years, this day has been helped to raise awareness about the power of education to positively change communities.
As Nakes joins this day, we want to stress the uniqueness of education in creating happiness, safety of our children, innovation, creativity, and good health and the futures of all children across the world. Nakes further believes that every child in Zambia and elsewhere deserves the opportunity to learn and consume quality education. Education must never be negotiable. All children in Zambia, regardless of their religion, ethnicity, gender, region, or social status, should unconditionally be given quality education. As we celebrate this International Day of Education, we want to encourage our government to continue supporting education. We are happy that Zambia is doing very, very well on access to education. Government is trying everything possible to avail education to almost all children of school-going age. This is commendable because education is a basic human right and it is essential for the growth and success of all of us. However, The biggest challenge that we face as a country is the poor quality of education which most schools are offering to our children. In literacy, numeracy and skills, Zambian learners are still performing amongst the least in the region. This is because of pathetic teacher preparations in most schools, inadequate desks, some of our learners are still sitting on the floor, demotivated teachers, inadequate teaching and learning materials, as well as distractive emphasis on rote learning instead of critical thinking.
Outspoken United Party for National Development member Bene Hachomba has expressed concern with the delayed conclusion of Gaza incident investigations. Speaking during a press briefing Tuesday, Mr. Hachomba notes that arresting and charging perpetrators of Gaza incidents that claimed the lives of many citizens was a campaign promise. He says in his capacity, he will again write to the police and the Ministry of Home Affairs and Internal Security to conclude the Gaza investigations to bring justice to the victims of the criminalities. The government has never given the exact number of citizens who died in the Gaza incidents, which locked the country in 2020, but it is believed more than 40 people were killed.
Apart from the high cost of living, apart from the employment, apart from this and that, etc., there's a promise also on the lives that were lost, and up to now, there is no clear picture on who was the masterminder of this project. We saw so many arrests, of course, colleagues from the media, but we've seen, the cases going nowhere. This was a Zambian project, we want to believe. And I want to take this opportunity to call upon Inspector General of Police, the permanent secretaries at Home Affairs, the minister in charge of Home Affairs, to conclude on this matter. We're not asking for too much. We are asking for justice. Justice for who? Justice for that child that was killed. Justice for that child who was gassed in the house and they died instantly.
We now take our final break. To join me for the rest of the news after this.
It's a January back-to-school promotion bonanza at Darren Bay. Take advantage of our massive price discounts and turn your wonderful school-going kids into stars. With a cornrows hairstyle going at only 30 kwacha for kids below 13 years and 50 kwacha for kids above 13 years, your child is guaranteed that neat and trusted, classy look. This curly, knotless hairstyle is going for as little as 150 kwacha from as high as 200 kwacha, wigs included. Now that's a classy saving. The sleek ponytail going at 80 kwacha from 120 kwacha makes your little one look like a true princess. Gift your pretty one with this lovely natural twist for as low as 60 kwacha from 100 kwacha, beads included. Now that's a cute saving. Your princess will look stunning in this curly ponytail at only 90 kwacha from the original 110 kwacha. Now that is a great deal. You will find us along Mosi Road, 4th Close, on the left after Kalikiliki Police Post in Ibex Hill, Lusaka. We are open from 0720 to 17 hours, 7 days a week. Call us for appointment bookings on 0772 870588 or WhatsApp on 0972 049213. Darren B, a touch of class.
Water is life. Each drop counts and each must be cherished. Our tried and tested product meets all international standards. With our smart drip technology, we aim to deliver precision irrigation designed to reduce blockage and wastage, ensuring a high yield. Renglow, your smart irrigation partner.
Thank you so much for still staying with us. And now for the rest of the news. Cameroon has become the first country in Africa to roll out a new malaria vaccine for children. The World Health Organization approved the vaccine last year after successful trials in Ghana and Kenya. Meanwhile, the Israeli army has had its worst day since launching its ground invasion after at least 24 soldiers were killed in Gaza. The injured were airlifted during an exchange of fire with Palestinian fighters around Khan Yunis. 210 Israeli soldiers have been killed since Israel began ground operations in Gaza at the end of October. Here's a roundup of international news.
At a small health center on the outskirts of Cameroon's capital Yaoundé, a historic moment in the fight against malaria. A small serum that can save from the deadly parasite is being administered for the first time to baby Daniela. Millions have died of malaria, most are African children. These nurses and doctors have seen parents helpless in the face of their children suffering, watching them unable to breathe, in distress with a high fever, eventually leading to an agonizing death. Now they can save lives, thanks to the new anti-malaria vaccine program being rolled out by Cameroon's health services.
We are a district with a fairly high prevalence. It should also be remembered that the vaccine complements existing measures, including impregnated mosquito nets and environmental sanitation.
Cameroon is offering the RTS anti-malaria vaccine free of charge to all infants up to the age of 6 months old. It took 50 years of scientific research to develop the vaccine. The challenge has been the mutating nature of the malaria parasite. Part of the breakthrough came from a tree found in Chile. Its substance strengthens intensity of the immune response in the vaccine.
It is a disease that is very difficult because it is transmitted by a parasite with a life cycle that's very complicated. We have a vaccine which has demonstrated effectiveness and safety. We have really studied and tested it to be sure there's no side effects that would cause problems.
Following the COVID pandemic, unfounded fear of the new malaria vaccine seems to be spreading faster than its actual benefits. The challenge for health workers is to convince parents like Audrey Stella that the new vaccine is safe for their children.
If it was talked about everywhere, maybe in the media or in communities, and people are informed, then I would be more prepared to vaccinate. Right now, I feel a little uncomfortable and unsure.
The UN says that every 2 minutes, a child dies of malaria. With this new vaccine rollout, this is about to change. The small serum is a big victory in the fight against a parasite, offering the possibility of saving millions of lives across the world.
Condolences to the families. Itamar Ben-Gvir, the extreme right-wing minister of national security, saying that this highlights that the war should not stop and we should keep fighting. So yes, as you mentioned there, the deadliest day for the Israeli military since the ground operation began. They're entering, even the Israeli president there saying in his statement, what is an incredibly difficult phase in very difficult circumstances in terms of the area that they're operating in, particularly this push in Khan Yunis, as we've heard there from Hani reporting. Yahya Sinwar, the leader of Hamas, is from Khan Yunis. The Hamas's military commander, Mohammed Deif, is from Khan Yunis. The Israeli military, according to their statements, believe that Sinwar is in Khan Yunis in the underground tunnel networks. They believe perhaps he surrounded himself with many of the captives as a form of security, if you will, security guarantee. And again, like, you know, you're also dealing with an army, Israeli army, that's made up of reservists. This is a country that has conscription. They spend between 1.5 years and 3 years in the army. They go home to their jobs. 350,000 of them were called up from their jobs to go and fight, many of them inside Gaza. You're dealing with Hamas, who's been training for this for years. They know the tunnel system and the streets streets, the dense streets in Gaza like the back of their hand. So yes, what we're witnessing now on the ground in Gaza is certainly probably the most difficult ground-to-ground fighting for the Israeli army.
Right, and they have been, as this is happening, there have been reports, Stephanie, of a possible new deal between Israel and Hamas, which I understand is being picked up by the Israeli media today. What exactly is this proposal, and what's being said about it?
We've had a lot of back and forth over the weeks of leaks of what is being negotiated, what parameters are being discussed, who's put the proposal on the table. The latest that we hear now that was released overnight, leaked overnight, was a deal that Israel is agreeing to, or offering, if you will, 2 months of a pause in the fighting. This is in contradiction, just briefly, that Netanyahu has been so defiant to say no pause in fighting, no end to the war. So the details of the report is this. So 2 months in exchange for a gradual release of all the Israeli captives, including the bodies of those that are dead, including also the 2 dead soldiers they've been holding since 2014, Hamas has been holding, and 2 captives, Israelis, that crossed the border voluntarily in 2014. So all the Israelis are being considered in this deal. And this is also for, they will be discussing how many captives, 1 captive, how many Palestinian prisoners, sorry. So all of these details are leaking in terms of what's being discussed. What we know, publicly what's being said. Israel's position is, particularly Netanyahu, no end to the fighting, no ceasefire, and we will get the hostages militarily. Hamas has said all along, a total end to the war, and only then will we release the captives. Folly, what gets said publicly and what gets discussed behind closed doors are often very different things. So I think what's clear is negotiations have been ongoing.
Right.
Now these leaks again about specifics. Let's wait and see. We know that Brett McGurk, the U.S. envoy, is in Cairo right now. Discussions are underway. He will be heading to Qatar as well. So we're going to have to wait and see what kind of compromises, if any, get made on both sides.
Football administrator PONGA LIWEWE says Zambia is in a difficult position to qualify to the round of 60 after recording 2 draws in their Group F games played so far. LIWEWE says the easier game that Chipolopolo had was against Tanzania, stating that Congo DRC and Morocco were tougher opponents in the group. Speaking in an interview with Zanis Sports, LIWEWE said Zambia is fighting for nothing but a win on Wednesday's game against Morocco to guarantee them a spot in the knockout stages. LIWEWE, however, stated that despite Morocco's record of being World Cup semi-finalists, the Chipolopolo boys can still push themselves and get a better result in tomorrow's encounter. And LIWEWE has urged soccer fans to let the coach select players for the starting lineup, as he is the one that spends more time with them during training and knows what they are capable of. LIWEWE charged that Zambia needs a strong and positive mindset for them to come out with a point, even if they do not win the game, in order for them to be in a better position. Well, that's it for our news tonight. Here's a recap of the headlines. An opposition leader hails government stance on BOROSTE agreement. President HICHILEMA challenged to lead by example by cutting on foreign trips. The government urged to extend cholera vaccination to correctional facilities. In international news, 24 Israeli soldiers killed in attack in Gaza. And in sports news, PONGA LIWEWE is skeptical about Zambia progressing to the AFCON round of 16. Our verse of the day is coming from the book of Philippians 4, verse 13. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Sylvia Zulu. Good night.